Hello everyone, welcome back. So did you ever start a project or have a project in mind and say, yeah, this is going to be easy, I'll bang this out, and it's not? Well, this is one of them. So I'll give you kind of a little bit of a background. When I was a kid, my mom and dad's house had two fireplaces in it. And in the main floor, the main fireplace had a set of fireplace tools. And there was a poker, you know I like my pokers. There was a shovel, and there was a pair of tongs. Okay, they were huge. So I always remember when I was a kid playing with all of those fireplace tools. Fast forward to nowadays, and I was watching Dean, and he was using ember tongs. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I kind of researched ember tongs, and they were used a lot, back in the day to light their pipes, transfer an ember from make one fire to another fire. But what we use it for, what Dean was using them for, was for holding the embers. When you're doing like some punk wood or moving your chalk cloth. So I thought it was really, really cool. I believe his son Lawson made it for him. Dean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I said, you know what, because he had said he's going to send a pair of those with the striker that he made, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try to make a pair of those. So I was looking around in my scrap, like I save all kinds of nonsense. And I had this piece of spring steel. Not Springsteen steel. So that came out of this. This is like a thing you put in your car for your back. And I'll tell you, this is really, really springy steel. Now, I never really worked with spring steel. Let me lower this camera a little bit. So I never really worked with it as far as trying to shape it and stuff, but I've watched a lot of blacksmiths make springs for firearms, not blacksmiths, gunsmiths, where they'll get a piece of spring stock, which is basically annealed, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically softened, right? Because when it's hardened, it's brittle. So they would take it, you form it, cut it, file it, then they would heat treat it as far as quenching it. Now when it's quenched, it's really, really brittle, and then they got to temper it to bring that brittleness back down to where it's springy again. So I was playing around with this, and I had bent it. I heated it up just with a propane torch, and I bent it, and I quenched it in water. Now another thing, if you ever worked with any kind of metal as far as blacksmithing goes, if you don't know what the composition of the metal is, it's kind of a guessing game as far as what temperatures to get it, what medium to use to quench it, whether it's oil, whether it's water, whether it's brine. There's a whole bunch of science to it. So with this, I was just playing a guessing game. So I heated it up, I bent it, I let it cool a little bit, I quenched it in water, and I went to squeeze it, and it snapped. And it's probably not going to show up, but you could see how there's just, it's almost like a white crystalline in there. So it was obviously way too brittle, and it wasn't going to work. So then I started playing around with it, and I did end up successfully making these. So now they work. I can pick up my embers, but I'll tell you what, it was not easy. When I was heating it up to bend it, it would bend great when it was red hot, but it never got annealed to the point where I could just shape it however I wanted and then heat treat it again, then temper it again to get it to this shape. I don't know why. Again, first time I ever worked with spring steel. So if any of you out there know why it didn't anneal after I got it red hot, the only thing I could think of is it was air. What's the term? So it was basically air hardening. There is steel that air hardens. Like you get it, you bring it up to temperature, you let it sit out just in the regular air, and as it cools down, it hardens. So from what I gathered, that's kind of tricky to work with because it's hard to anneal. I've seen some blacksmiths take that and put it into a bucket of vermiculite to get it to anneal. But so basically, it was I could only work with it while it was pretty dang hot, and it was tricky. It took me as long as it takes to make a whole fire poker, twisting it, grinding it, making the handle, polishing it, pinning it. Took that long to just make this simple little 1/8 inch ember tongs. So I'll tell you what, I'm not going to obsess over these. This is going to be the only one I ever made. I had these grand illusions of making something and putting using the 1/4 inch square stock and putting a twist in it and then welding this on the end. I'm like, yeah, no. This will be the one and only ember tongs I ever make. They are far from perfect. I'll tell you, I was trying to get the little curves and bends out and trying to make it look really cool and stuff, but yeah, it was just really, it was a pain in the neck. So I'm happy with the way they came out. They do work great. So I'll be able to use these going forward. But like I said, I will not be making another pair of these anytime soon. So if anyone's got any tips or tricks on working with spring steel, let me know. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you all are doing well. I'm sending you all much, much love and respect, my brothers and sisters. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you on the next one.